We all have selves, and they are essentially our identities. It is the way in which we differ from one another to make up an incredibly diverse and interesting global population. No two people are exactly the same. Everyone has their own unique personality, and it is based on their personal identity. Our identity is made up of various parts of ourselves: our likes, dislikes, beliefs, interests, hobbies, upbringing, culture, etc. Each of these form part of our identity, our persona, and it influences every aspect of our lives. Sometimes people become so heavily identified with these parts of themselves that it can result in extreme behavior because they have lost the ability to differentiate between themselves and whatever they are identifying with. We see it all the time with religious or political extremists. This same sort of obsessive, compulsive identification can be found in addiction and even with certain types of diseases like anorexia or bulimia. Once we have unconsciously identified with something as part of ourselves, it is impossible to break away from it. It is only through conscious disidentification that we can begin to transform our lives. Today we are going to talk about identity and how it could be limiting your potential. Welcome to Cash Cartel, a safe haven for future billionaires and innovative thinkers. Every habit that we have formed in our lives is fueled by some sort of self-belief, whether we are aware of it or not. This applies to both good and bad habits. If you believe yourself to be a smoker and you identify yourself as a smoker, you can buy the gum and vow to never pick up another cigarette. But we can guarantee that as long as you still think of yourself as a smoker, you will break and you will start smoking again. It may be a week from now, or it may be 5 years from now. Until you consciously and completely disidentify yourself with the habit and decide once and for all that you are truly not a smoker, you will never truly break free from it. The same goes for every other bad habit in life that is keeping you from reaching your potential. If part of you believes that you are lazy, talentless, or useless, then that is exactly what you will be. People are so quick to blame life and all of its circumstances for their failures or shortcomings, but they do not realize that it's really their own limiting self-beliefs and labels that are the cause. Has someone ever labeled you? Have they ever casually referred to you as a nerd? Or maybe an introvert? Or maybe they told you that you were popular and sporty? Whatever it may be, it is likely that if the label did not align with the labels that you already allocated yourself, you would find yourself slightly annoyed by their attempt to put you inside of a box. It's time to realize that you are essentially doing exactly the same thing when you assign yourself labels that form your identity. If you're watching this video and you're interested in this sort of content, it's almost a given that you are not a typical average human. You likely have a good routine and look after your health and well-being to an extent. You're interested in self-development and you're constantly looking for new ways to improve yourself. Therefore, we want to stress that the way your identity can limit you stretches beyond some things you may have already conquered, like eating junk food, sleeping in, and spending too much time on Instagram. Bad habits can also be things like overworking and not socializing. These are all closely linked to the identity and labels you have assigned yourself. Boxes can be comfortable, but they are also incredibly limiting. Think about someone you know who claims to be an introvert. How much they let themselves off the hook with regards to making an effort in social situations or any sort of situation that may require them to be pushed out of their comfort zone. They never have to be uncomfortable or force themselves to learn how to speak to groups of people or socialize with strangers. They will simply shrug and say, "I'm an introvert." This is a classic example of how your identity can limit your potential. It simply allots you a get-out-of-jail-free card. You are already convinced of what you can and can't do, and you hardly ever think to reach beyond that. The way you define yourself will influence every aspect of your life: your diet, your routine, your social skills, your work ethic, your relationships. All of these aspects are dependent on your identity. If you limit yourself with all these neat little labels, you will never think to put yourself in a position of discomfort, and therefore, you will never ever give yourself the opportunity to grow and develop to become more than you currently are. Many modern gurus advocate against having a self because most of life's problems stem from us having selves. We disagree. We believe that you can and should still embrace your identity and your personality, but that it should be an identity that you have crafted from a place of awareness. When you design your identity from a place of awareness, you will never fully be identified with it. There will always be space between you and the labels you have chosen. However, it is beneficial to have these labels and beliefs because they are essentially our fallback when we are operating on autopilot. If you believe you are the kind of person who makes their bed every morning, you will do it out of belief until you form the habit. Once the habit has been formed, you will automatically fall back on it and it will become second nature. This is how you hack your own behavior. We can't be conscious 100% of the time. Craft your identity, shift your beliefs, practice it so that it becomes habitual, and eventually you will not believe that there was a time in your life when you did not make your bed. If you are serious about developing as a person and changing your life, then it's crucial that you start over. Reset. You are going to need a blank canvas. You are going to have to disidentify yourself with everything you thought you once were. This is not easy, and your family and friends are going to think you are insane. But it is the only way that you will truly be able to create the shifts you need within yourself to begin redesigning and eventually rebuilding yourself as a person you respect. Get yourself a pen and a journal. Write down everything that you think you currently are. The entire identity that you have crafted from your childhood right up until today. All the little tics, the habits, the beliefs, the likes, the dislikes. Get it all down on paper where you can see it. You may even find yourself laughing at some of it. Okay, new page. Now write down everything you want to be. The habits, the beliefs, the behaviors, every little detail that you can envision. Now compare them. What parts of your current identity do not support the one you are trying to create? Now that you have a clear picture of what you need to let go of, you can begin working on disidentifying yourself with these parts. Some of these parts may be easy to let go of, and others may require more drastic action, like ending relationships and cutting people off. At the end of the day, it is up to you to decide how badly you want to change your life and how far you are willing to go to become the person you envision yourself to be and reach your full potential. Once you decide that you want it, it's a matter of simply aiming yourself in that direction and putting in the work. Take action now. Continue watching our videos so that you can begin the journey and unlock infinite wealth and success in your life today.